Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How are you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. Today I'm joined by Kent from Belfast in Northern Ireland. But first, before we start, I just want to thank everybody for joining our members area, which is the button down below that says join. I want to thank everybody for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. But most of all, thank you for sharing the videos on WhatsApp, because we have analytics that tells us how many people are sharing it. And it was like about 9% at one point, 6 months ago. It's now way past 50 odd, and nearly 80% of you are watching them to end now. So thank you very much. How are we doing, Kent?
Good morning, Russell. How's it going?
All right, you've got your Joe Gallagher t-shirt on. Let me just get mine on. 2 seconds. Whoa.
Oh, love it.
I'm in me Joe Gallagher t-shirt, eh?
We can be chief seconds to Joe Gallagher.
Go on, mate.
We're chief seconds to Joe Gallagher.
Yeah. I tell you what a career he's had, Joe Gallagher. When you look at it,
you go back and you look at the old boxing trainers back in time. You look at Ray Arcel, coaches like Nacho Barstein in Mexico, who sadly passed away. And these are great trainers of boxing. These are probably the greatest boxing trainers ever. And how you can justify saying that is look what they've done with fighters from scratch. They've brought them from novice professionals to world titles, and even some respects amateurs the world title.
Yeah,
it's remarkable. I can't see that the landscape of boxing now and the way boxing is now with fighters, the way they jump around trainers and the way trainers just jump around fighters and only work with certain promotional networks. I can't see another trainer in boxing coming through in Britain that will ever do what Joe Gallagher's done again, ever.
Way I look at it is this, right? What you could say, right, that he got lucky with that generation of fighter, but being a trainer isn't just being a trainer. You've got a bit social work, haven't you? You've got to know about relationships. You've got to know who they're knocking about with. Are they going out for a pint on a Friday night with their mates? Are they having a bit of Charlie up the nose? Have they got a good home life? Me and my mates were in Max and Mickey Field were in Joe's gym. We watched him. And you watch him in gym. He's scanning gym constantly, even though while he's watching the certain person sparring, he's watching what's going on. He knows what's going on. He'll know who's tossing it off in that gym in the wind, because he's been around it and he's been doing it. Been training 30 years, 28 years or something. He's been training them, and I used to give him loads of stick, mainly because when Quigg got upgraded. I don't agree with that. You can't go around saying you're world champion, you've been given belt, and then it's a draw on night. Didn't like that. I didn't like Crawler getting that rematch. But Linares, I didn't think that warranted it. I didn't think Paul Smith warranted a rematch against Abraham. Things like that, little things that do my head in. But if they've got it in contract, what can you do? Look, he's going to look after his fighters, isn't he? But when you're a boxing fan, you look at it from outside, you say, well, I don't know that. But until you know what's going on behind the scenes. It's like the first time I ever got talking to Joe Gallagher. What behind the scenes at weigh-in for Froch Groves 1 in Manchester, and I walked up to him, all right, Joe, and he just fucking blanked me. I went, oh, you've got the same trainers on as me, Nike Air Force 1. So I told him about it, and recently he said, well, what it is, when you're backstage, you've got to keep your eye on your fighter because there's all sorts going on. He's like a mother hen, isn't he? he does what's best for his fighter. So you've got to give him credit, haven't you?
Yeah, you touched on a very good point there, a social point that you said, and you look at logistics of where fighters are and where gyms are, and you look what Joe's done in an area. You look at the area he's came from in Manchester, a lot of deprivation, a lot of social issues there, and the way he has mentored and kept that gym in check with all the distractions around, it is absolutely incredible how he's managed all his fighters. And you say it again, there's a lot of different personalities coming in and out of the gyms over the years, and he always seems to the man manage his fighters so well. He just seems to be like the only boxer, trainer, and manager that's actually doing anything for his fighters. And the funny thing is, I always liked Joe, and I remember the Frampton build up, and he got a lot of stick, but I always respected him because I could see the passion he had for his fighters. And I remember he went into fight camp last year, and I remember that the security guard wanted to scan him for his reading, and he was, no, I want to scan you. And he brought his own scanning gun out.
Yeah, I heard about
that. That's classic Joe Gallagher, but he's well within his rights to do that. And I just think it's fact, he's Britain's best trainer. He's
most
got
successful trainer, isn't it, from the UK ever?
Most successful from the UK ever, and the only coach to win the Ring Magazine of the Year. Plus, as well, Russell, he done it the proper way. He done it as a young coach, bringing novice amateurs up and down the country to club shows and championships. So he has to be given credit. Has to be.
Got to be given credit, yeah. Moving on then from Joe, because back in the day I used to think you were a cock, but now I like him. So Joe, you're all right. You get the book. You see the seal of approval. But he did used to come across as a bit of a cock back in the day. But once you can see what he's about, it's for his fighters, isn't it? So I apologise for giving you loads of stick. I don't know if Brian King will though, but I apologise. But I did used to give Joe loads of stick. Loads of stick. I used to call him Tesco Joe. Waitrose Joe now, isn't it?
He's Waitrose Joe now. He's upgraded.
Driving around in a brand new Porsche, so he's doing something. He must be doing something right. But no, his gym's fantastic. And what he's done with them kids in that gym is unbelievable. But I don't think he's had the rub of the green in the last few years. Callum Johnson and Beterbia could have gone other way, couldn't it, with a bit of luck. And Natasha Jonas robbed against Terry Harper. That's 2 world title belts there. All right.
Yeah. The Beterbia fight, nobody wanted to take that fight. Callum Johnson took it after 14, 15 fights and gave him life and death, and was still punching.
Yeah,
and Terry Harper, the Terry Harper fight, I thought Tasha was robbed.
Shocking.
Robbed.
And then you've got Jose Burton, can't get a fight.
No.
Before he went into that golden ticket, whatever tournament thing. I just thought that he was being swerved by a lot of people. I want to see Lyndon Arthur fighting. That's what I want to see. I want to see Lyndon Arthur and Jose Burton, because I'm not so sure if Yard's going to fight Arthur. Me now, are you?
No.
If that fight don't happen, it's got to be Jose Burton and Lyndon Arthur, 2 Mancunians going at it. That'd be a sellout, that.
Yeah, it'd be great. That would sell out. You could have a really big card. You said yesterday about it. You could have a 4-way. You could have 2 co-main events there, and you could probably sell out Manchester MEN Arena. So you could, and that's a fight you would pay. And Natasha, I would love Natasha to go and fight Choi up at super featherweight for the WBA title. Yeah. That's the fight that Terry Harper they were talking about fighting. I think Natasha deserves that fight because, to be honest, I fought in the Katie Taylor fight. I thought she lost by 1 round, but I thought the amount of headbutts and the tactics from Taylor in that fight. You know, you look at Natasha's head at the end of the fight. The amount of headbutts that went in there, and there was nothing from Sky.
Katie
there was
Taylor.
nothing from the
Katie Taylor. She comes rushing in like that, doesn't she? And there's no on her punches, you know, and a lot of them punches were missing and being blocked, you know. But what it is, she's like a darling, isn't she, to media, and she's got a country behind her. And you've got Eddie Hearn on every platform giving it that, and judges are scared to go against her, and referees are frightened to take a point off. I mean, did she even get a warning for them headbutts?
No, not one.
And the best thing about it is, Joe Gallagher called it what was going to happen before it started, didn't he?
He said it. He absolutely said it.
Eddie went, it's Joe Gallagher with his mind games. Yeah, all right, Eddie. Eddie, come see me. You know what I mean?
Don't have nightmares, Eddie.
Don't have nightmares, Eddie, about me coming and knocking on your door. We're not on about the one at Great Wally, where your dad's office is where you put your shows on. We're on about your proper door. I'll come round, Eddie, with a pot noodle and we'll have a little chat. We'll have a little chat for 20 minutes and decide that I'm right and you're going to resign yourself to the fact that you're getting out of boxing. He'll be gone him soon. Sooner he goes, the better.
Russell, to be honest with you, it looks like a bit of a disaster at the minute, you know, over stateside. You look at the whole Colano, I can't even say that, so guys, sorry. You look at the Colano deal, you know, do you think that you look at all the great Mexican fighters who have had legendary careers, you look at Chavez, you look at De La Hoya, after boxing, has there been any Mexican fighter that has eclipsed what they have done when they were fighting?
No.
Right. So you look at Colano.
Canelo, but let's call him Saul Alvarez because that's his name.
You look at Saul Alvarez. You look at he's looking into that market. He's looking into promotional. You know, it's not the end of his career, but he's coming to the end of his career, and he needs to have a plan B.
Who does?
Saul Alvarez.
He's 30-year-old. He'll fight till he's 38. Him. He's got another 20 fights in him. He's got another 20 fights in him.
Do you reckon, Russell?
20 fights, £500 million he's got to earn him, yeah. He's got another $500 million to go with. $500 million he'll be a billionaire when he gets out of the game.
So you're looking now, and I think there's going to be inroads now to him setting up some form of promotional outfit. Do you think he'll leave Eddie on his own and go out and set up his own thing?
I think what he's going to be thinking about now is, I could do a pay-per-view. I've got a country behind me. I don't need any of this subscription carry on. So I think he might jog Eddie Hearn on. And if he does, Eddie, what are you going to do, Eddie? Eddie will be like, bit of a squeak there, Coogan. And Frank Smith will be squeaky bums, won't they? Now, if he does leave DAZN and Joshua goes to Sky, where does that leave Eddie Hills, the 4-0 Iceman? Free by way of.
Big trouble. You know, that deal he's got now with DAZN, really, if you think about it. So what he could do is he's got his own promoter's license now. It's been approved. And what he could do is, so if he sets up his own thing, he will have the gate, which he only gets a small percentage of with DAZN. He will get TV rights that he could sell to different networks and different companies, and he will get the pay-per-view revenue. So it's a no-brainer that he goes and he sets up his own thing. It doesn't make sense for him to be at a prescription channel getting far less than that. It doesn't make sense.
No, it don't. All right then. Can I ask you, while I've got you on here, Kent, what star has Eddie Hearn built in the last 10 years from scratch?
Does that exclude EIS?
Take the EIS out of it, but you can include the EIS, but take the EIS out of it. What star has he built that's not come from the McCracken conveyor belt? Okay, then I'll give you another one. What star has Eddie Hearn built since he's been this Mr. DAZN for the last 3 years? What star has he built from America?
There's none. You know, Devin Haney, he's claiming that Devin Haney was going to be this superstar Mayweather type fighter. No, he doesn't look, you know, he went life and death with Jorge Linares, who looks like he's got rickets and got knocked out 2 fights before by a club fighter. So no, it's not him. It's not Devin Haney.
Okay then, right. What star? Hang on, I can explain it now. So basically, Eddie Hearn's had 52 world champions, but he's only had a handful of them from scratch, and all of them except one have been from the EIS, haven't they? Herbie Hyde. His dad had Herbie Hyde, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he was Nigerian. So
yeah.
So basically, they've had Herbie Hyde, who weren't from the EIS. All the others, Charlie Edwards, Callum Smith, Anthony Joshua, Katie Taylor were an Olympian. I don't think she won from the EIS though, was she?
No.
Savannah Marshall, Mick Hennessy, and Peter had her from the beginning. Or Mayweather had her for the first fight. So take Savannah out that. And then there's all the other ones, you know, Carl Froch, Bellew, Darren Barker, Nathan Clever. They'd all done stuff. They want with Eddie from debut, or the Ricky Burns.
No.
So basically, what Eddie Hearn is, he's a cuckoo that nicks people's eggs, isn't he? He's not somebody that puts the hard graft in. He doesn't do the heavy lifting. He's like the mafia, isn't he? When you rob a bank, you have to go and hand an envelope, don't you, to John Gotti, because you know you've robbed a bank on his manor. Eddie's one of them, isn't he? He's nothing short of a ponce, really. Eddie, you're a ponce. I don't like you. He's a ponce. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, I want DAZN to do great because it's great for boxing." No. I want DAZN to go bankrupt, and I want Eddie Hearn to be stood at fucking queue at food banks. That's what I want to see. I want to see some fucking hardship. I want to see him come back from that, Mr. fucking Relentless. That's what I want to see. I'm not like all these like Steffi Bull who might think what I do, what like me, but they're not going to say it, are they? I say it. You know what I mean? But I want to see some hardship. That's what I want to see. All these people high-fiving him and all that and making out that and Eddie's there thinking he's one of the boys. When he walks off out of that company, they all say he's a prick anyway, but he knows that. He's not stupid. And all these people that carry on false around him, somebody sent me something the other day, I was like, Jesus, it was something with Dave Caldwell. I mean, oh, God, it was painful to see. It was awful to see, mate. But I want to see some hardship. That's all I want to see. I want to see him come back from some adversity. I want to see him not with a prison sentence because they put a skirt on him and bum him. I want to see him get a prison sentence, though, but not get bummed. And I want to see him come back from that, or come back from bankrupt, or whatever, like Frank Warren's come back, and he's made more comebacks than Sinatra. When has Eddie made a comeback? It's been on a plate with him, so don't tell me you're this roadman, killer, gangster, relentless promoter when you've had it on a fucking plate, you cock.
You know, you look back at Frank Warren, he's been bankrupt that many times. He's lost so many world champions, and he was even shot as well. So Frank knows how to come back from adversity. You know, look at how Eddie struggled when Joshua got knocked unconscious by a 21 stone Andy Ruiz in America after 5 weeks. He struggled with that, and he was like, yeah, I've done this and I've done that to get the fight, to get this rematch. The prerequisite to that contract was actually a rematch clause. So he didn't do anything. It was law binding. So you're absolutely right. You know, it's not like he started Matchroom from scratch. He didn't. His dad started it from a snooker club. That's how Matchroom started.
They made the money off Alex Higgins' back, that lot. They created that Davis-Alex Higgins rivalry. They kept Alex Higgins down, treating him like a dog, mate. And they made it off Alex Higgins' back, mate. He put them where they are today, mate. If it weren't for him, there wouldn't have been no snooker in the 70s, mate, and 80s. When Alex Higgins won the world title in 1972, there were 250 people watched him win it in 1972, and no TV. In 1985, when Dennis Taylor played Steve Davis, forward 13-year period, 20 million watched it on TV and in front of a full house at Crucible. That was down to Alex Higgins, mate. Alex Higgins made them. And they just got lucky. Pot Black came out. They changed it from black and white to snooker for TVs, didn't they, with colour? And they got lucky. But listen, Alex Higgins played a massive part in them having... And obviously, Barry Hearn, very hard worker, very shrewd, entrepreneur and all that. But Eddie, don't you make out that you did it all. You didn't.
Yeah, Eddie, Alex Higgins was what people wanted to see. He was working class.
Yeah.
He brought the viewership. He created the narrative, the snooker. He got people tuning in. So it wasn't like, if there was no Alex Higgins, nobody would really want to watch Cliff Thorburn against Steve Davis every match. You would have been half asleep. But yeah, you're right. It was Alex Higgins' creative play and his personality, that working class person, that actually got people tuning in. Yeah. So yeah, I totally agree with you there.
Okay then, I'm going to throw some names at you here, right? Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, Barry Hearn, Bob Arum, Tyson Fury, John Fury, Dave Allen, Davey Day, Adam Smith, Spencer Fearon. 10 boxing names there, right? If any one of them told you something, would you take it as gospel? Yes or no?
Definitely not.
There you go. Well, these are the people in the sport of boxing. This is what we have to put up with. So we can't believe any of that lot, can we? So all these people that said this fight's happening, that fight's happening, we know, don't we? The casuals don't know. We don't take, like with Tyson Fury Wilder. We knew, didn't we? We knew what was going to happen. I knew anyway, but other people knew, but they didn't want to put it on the channels, did they? Because they're too scared. IFL knew that Tyson Fury weren't going to fight. Because if I knew, IFL knew. So they knew. Boxing Social knew. Michelle Phelps definitely knew she would won at first. But she didn't go on the social media and say, is Tyson... She didn't say it. I could hardly go out there and say he's going to class. As I just said, is he going to pull out? But she knew he wasn't going to. And I think I did deep down. But why didn't she put it out there? Is Tyson going to pull out? Because they're frightened to death, aren't they? They're frightened to death. Right? They're losing access. So how can they be for the fans? Hey? How can Eddie Hearn be for fans when he's now talking Amir Khan, Kell Brook yesterday? He's talking to the chosen few yesterday, still wanted to make Amir Khan and Kell Brook. I mean, fucking hellfire, are you having a laugh? He's got to be having a laugh, hasn't he? Please. He's got to be having a laugh, surely to God.
It's very hypocritical, Russell. So Kell Brook gets offered a massive opportunity to go and fight in America. Massive money. It's probably his last big cash out fight. And you couldn't begrudge him that after what he did. He jumped in against Gallagher, got his face smashed in. He's a right to cash out.
Yeah. I just oh, I'm sorry.
Eddie's on crying and criticizing him and saying he's not going to work with him. But now all of a sudden, out of the woodwork, he wants to put Kell Brook and Amir Khan on. My opinion is on that, Russell, that just shows you the pressure that he's under now to deliver. Because
let me tell you something.
What other fights?
Yeah, because Ken, hang on a minute, because you're going off on one, and you're asking a question, then you're answering. You're going on for long periods, and then when you get to end of one period, we're losing what we spoke about at first. Right? We spoke about Khan, didn't we? Yeah, and Brook. You agree with me? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Do you agree that he's under pressure with DeGale? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. Do you think that Kell Brook and Amir Khan, do you think they like Eddie Hearn? Because I know they don't. What do you think?
No.
Right, but it's a means to an end, isn't it, for all three parties, for Khan and his old man and his dad Shah, and Kell and his stepdad Terry. It's a means to an end. They can't stand Eddie Hearn, none of them. Amir Khan and Shah Khan played him like a cheap fiddle the last couple of years. They can't stand him. But it's a marriage made in heaven because they all can't stand each other. They all want to earn money, don't they? They all want to go to that well one more time. But Amir Khan's last fight, don't you think he went to well then? Rung that bit extra out. Kell Brook, Crawford fight. How many more times can they just stand on the balcony outside their penthouses with the fans below, get their cocks out and take a piss on us? We're all like, hey, Amir, Kell, oh! How many more times can we do that? Get drowned in piss. How many more times are we going to put up with this fucker? Hey? Because they were talking about that when he had his first fight with Eddie Hearn at Hillsborough, when Richard Towers were on card. They were talking about Amir Khan then and Kell Brook. So why are we still talking about it now, 10, 11 years later, when they're both shot to bits? Kell's walking around Sheffield, fat as a pig Michelin man. And Amir Khan's not exactly in fantastic shape. So why would we want to see them fight at light middleweight? Who wants to see that? You want to see it?
No chance.
And I don't want to hear Dave Colwell coming out saying, well, who wants to see it? But I'd pay to watch it because they're giving us backhanded compliments. They are taking their cocks out and hosing us down. Look, you know that guy at Sopranos, Johnny Sack, he knocked that guy out, didn't he, in front of the car? Pulled his cock out, pissed all over him. That's what they're doing. That's what Eddie Hearn's doing to fans. And nobody's saying nothing. None of these YouTubers are saying nothing. When they're coming out with stuff like that, oh, Cougs, come round, we'll do an interview. Yeah, I think I might make Amir Khan fight. What do you reckon? Cougs? Yeah, well, I'd still want to see it, even at this stage of their careers. That's Coug more or less trying to stay on side with fans, isn't it, Cougs? It's a dog with fucking fleas, this fight. Nobody wants to see it in the sport of boxing. It's a piss take. They could put that money into a tournament. They could have Jose Burton, Lyndon Arthur, Anthony Yard, Dan Aziz, all them sort of guys, couldn't they? In a tournament. But now they don't want to do that, do they? They keep wanting to fucking recycle old shit. Let me just go downstairs. 2 seconds. 1 sec. Oh. 2 seconds. I've just got a sign for something. Give your opinion on whether Carl Froch should beat DeGale. Fuck you, Terry.
To be honest with you, yes, I do. I think Carl Froch would have beaten DeGale. You look at who DeGale lost to. You look at, the fights, like the fight he lost against Caleb Truex. If you put Truex in with Carl, I think Carl would have run right through him. The same way as I think that Carl would have run right through James DeGale. DeGale was on fighting on Channel 5, fights like Edwards, other kind of fights in Canada and stuff. And, Carl was boxing around the world and other fighters' backyards, beating fighters at their best. So I think style-wise that Carl would have beat James DeGale. And yeah, I know DeGale is a southpaw and was an Olympic champion, but I think that Carl's style would have he just would have overpowered DeGale. You think about it, DeGale was in 2 real tough fights. He was in that life and death fight with Lucien Butte, which was an absolute war. And you look at how Carl handled Butte, and at that stage, Carl, that was a make or break fight for Carl Froch. So there was more pressure going into that fight. So I think that his style, his aggressive style coming forward, he would have beat. I think he would have stopped DeGale, to be honest. I don't think DeGale. I think that southpaw style would have kept maybe off for a while, but I think laterally, as the fight go on, he wouldn't have been able to keep up with that pressure. I think he'd stopped him.
Well, this is how I look at it, right? Terry always says, "Oh, Carl Froch retired because James DeGale was mandatory, so you can't have a go at Calzaghe, Russ." So I said, Terry, Joe Calzaghe vacated and moved up. He only put £5 on though. He didn't retire. He had 2 more fights. Carl Froch retired. There's always going to be somebody coming through, but when you've beat Groves twice, and took Groves out, Groves took DeGale's out and beat him in amateur, so he beat him twice. When you beat Butte and Durrell and took their O's, they're DeGale's best wins. Do you know what I mean? See where I'm coming from? So his CV is nowhere near Carl. So I think Terry were trolling me there by putting the Carl Froch knocked out picture up for his profile. Terry, you're out of order, mate. But look, Terry likes to have a bit of banter, and we do have a different class of opinion. But look at the people Carl Froch fought. Jean Pascal, he took his O as well, Olympian. He's still a world champion now, isn't he? But Pascal beat Diacono and Chad Dawson. He took their O's, and Dawson was pound for pound Ring Magazine. Froch ran through him. Pascal beat him comfortably on points. So, James DeGale's CV don't come anywhere near Carl Froch's. He's poor. Do you know what I mean? Poor.
Yeah, you look at the fights that Carl had early on in his career. He was matched really well. He was matched smartly, not smartly, but he was matched intelligently. We spoke about the Matthew Barney fight and straight into the DeGale fight. He won at all levels. He was kind of done it all on the road as well. And when you're doing it on the road, you have to travel, you have to find gyms, you have to find somewhere to train to get your weight down. It's a lot harder to do all that on the road than it is at home. And that Super Series tournament was kind of groundbreaking in a way. I know it dragged out a wee bit much, but they beat them fighters and they put all that on the line against that caliber of opposition. There's not many British fighters that would have done that.
I'm not being funny, Captain. I've got a fucking gain on here with this. I feel like I've been up beak. Big shout out to Tom at Applied Nutrition. I'm gonna do a Lou Ferrigno back workout in about 20 minutes. So I need a bit of a boost because I'm a lazy so-and-so in the morning. All right then. Moving on. Hughie Fury. We spoke about him before and I want to speak about him again. Do you feel that he's being messed about by Matchroom? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, why?
Well, they were talking about getting him a really big, meaningful fight, and that whole fight camp has been announced. I thought Hughie should have been topping one of them bills, and there's nothing. They're not. I think they've been kind of sent to Coventry a wee bit because they wanted him to fight David Price. I don't want to see that fight. So
fucking Pricey. Big Pricey.
Yeah.
Is he still around?
They were talking. Well, that's what they were talking about. Peter was on talking about that they were offered David Price, and he felt that it wasn't a fight that's going to take Hughie into a world title fight. So I don't know what has went on, but I would have liked to seen Hughie in with someone like Jonathan Dussois, the French heavyweight, somebody like that there who has been at top level, hasn't really been stopped, but there's doesn't seem to be anything out there for him. What's going on?
I don't know, but I did hear a whisper that a bit back, Tony Bellew kept saying, you need to put David Price in with Hughie. And I bet he's got a bit of influence over Eddie Hearn, even if he's whispering in his ear and up his arsehole. But David Price didn't Big Chuck, not Big Chuck. Del Boy wrote him off last time, didn't he?
Yeah.
If you get wrote off by Del Boy, it's time to go start putting some bathrooms in again, isn't it? You think?
It's just that there isn't that. It's not like it's a gatekeeper to a world title fight. I don't think Peter wants to go through fighting, kind of poor opposition just to do it. I think Peter wants a breakthrough fight next and a world title, something like a WBO again, or even a fight an eliminator, because there's no point in just getting easy opposition and knocking them over. So I think it's time that they got him back in that position again, the challenge for a world title.
Okay. What do you see happening with Sky Sports now? What do you see happening with Sky Sports? Do you see big changes happening? Do you see people losing their jobs? Do you see a big shake-up?
Yeah, well, firstly, we haven't heard of Adam Smith in near 6 weeks. Don't know where he is. We know that John Wishausen has taken like a kind of role at Sky, who was previously Matchroom. He previously basically built Matchroom Boxing with Barry Hearn. So he's been brought in to kind of steady the ship. He was previously with ITV Box Office. That didn't work out. I think they're going to go down the line of this whole entertainment boxing. We listened to Calla on This Week Talking, and he says there's going to be a big announcement in some form of KSI is going to be the face of the kind of what there's going to be a separate.
What the fucking hell, man?
So KSI is going to be a kind of like the front of some sort of boxing entertainment brand.
Hey, man.
And that's going to be on Sky, and that's what they're looking at. I think.
What the fuck's happening to this sport?
It's shocking. And you've got Ultimate Boxer, Ben Shalah, who's been brought in. I think all they're going to do is maybe do 2 kind of prize fighter type tournaments a year. Then you've got the pay-per-views. I think Joshua will stay with Sky. And I think they're just going to headline it. I think it's going to be kind of cut back quite a lot. I think it's just going to be Joshua pay-per-views, these crappy, stupid entertainment boxing shows.
And then you've got Big John Fury, big fighting man that don't fight. We're in it for money. We're not in it for prizes. Did you hear that interview on Boxing Social with Big John Fury?
Hey. I watched it last night, but the thing that annoys me, Russell, is that Calla said something last week. He says that we're working hard with the board.
What? With board? What, with KSI?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why would the board even give him a license? What the fuck's happening, mate? To our sport? The fuck?
It's this entertainment boxing now is, Calla spoke about it. He spoke about, 2 years ago, he was on criticizing it. Now he's like, we need to embrace this. These guys are like professionals. They train hard. They do this, they do that. They're very switched on. It's just becoming more commercial than ever. So it's been diluted more than it's ever been diluted, ever.
Let's finish on a topic that I like to discuss. Conor Roadman Killer Benn. Does he win a world title, yes or no?
No.
Does he win a European?
No.
Does he win a British? Will he even go for a British?
No, he's bypassed that already.
His dad bypassed it though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because he got found out by Watson at British level in a Commonwealth fight. I know because I was there.
Finsbury Park.
Yeah. I was there in the Big Ten. But point I want to make is Nigel Benn went out to America to live in Miami at the time. So I know all the story that Peter the Freighter's told me and that he were with him. But Nigel Benn thought he'd skip British level because there were Bomber Grahams and all that kind of people around at that time, and he'd probably got beat against Bomber Graham, 12 rounds. He wouldn't have got near him. Now, Conor Benn's style's very similar to his dad. Look, we're not saying the kid hasn't come on. He's improved and he's quite explosive, but his dad didn't really have a test before he fought Watson. He was 22-0, 22 knockouts. Watson just took him to school, didn't he? Now, I think Conor Benn is an accident waiting to happen, and nobody's telling him, nobody's whispering it to him, saying, "Hey, listen, you've got a long way to go, son." Nobody's saying that to him, are they? What do you think, Ken?
Russell, you asked me a question there about a world title, and what type of world title are you talking about? There's so many types of world titles now. There's world titles that aren't world titles. I'm actually going to stop actually classing fighters as world champions now because it's so confusing. I would really like to see him fight David Avanesian for the European title.
That's what I want to see. David Avanesian against Conor Roadman Killer Benn. That's what I want to see. And then what I want to see after, well, we know what we'll see is, you know what I mean? Setbacks pave the way for comebacks, and Josh Kelly can get it, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? We get it all that one. And even Ali got beat, I'll come back. That's what he'll be chatting if he fights Evanesian. Won't you, Conor? Fight David Evanesian. He's got a profile. He's just done your biggest rival. He's just knocked out your biggest rival, Josh Kelly. And he's European champion, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Why are you saying world level when you skipped all belts? Fight David Evanesian. Fight him.
There's this talk now that he's going to fight for a European title next, which is good, but it's not against David Avanesian. I think that is, why wouldn't you want to fight the champion? They're saying that David Avanesian's going in for a world title eliminator. He's going to look for a fight. Surely he should be able to keep his European title and defend it after that, whether he wins or he loses. But credibility-wise, Russell, you want to fight David Avanesian. What other fight is there at the minute that makes more sense?
Josh Kelly, coming off a loss. Josh Kelly against Conor Benn. Josh Kelly's an hard fight for Conor Benn over 4 rounds. It's a tear-up. Why they can't make it, I don't know, because they might think, could get beat here. Let's try and get a big fight, get some money out of the job. If we get beat, we can fight all them then after we've had that big bite at cherry. It's pure fucking greed, mate, what they're doing. Don't talk to me about legacy and then you're skipping all levels. I hate that. It's not what I like. Gotta go through levels. Do it properly.
Even his half brother has won an area title on a McKenzie show. He's actually that guy that he works as a roofer. He works full time. I think he does boxing just as a sideline, and he's went on and won an area title, at area level, because he's no other option. But the whole Josh Kelly thing, we haven't heard of Josh Kelly since the defeat. What's going on there with Josh Kelly? Where is he?
Listen, mate, I don't know what's happened with Josh Kelly. Is he trained by...
He's an Adam Booth fighter.
Adam Booth! Go to Adam Booth, the Dark Lord. He's the best. Right. When I first got my driving license, right, as a teenager, I said, Dad, I want a 3-litre Capri gear or a 3-litre S. But Dad went, no, you'll kill yourself. I ended up with 1300 Mark II Escort P-Reg, 13 Pop or Pop Plus. Point I want to make is, you don't be somebody who's passed the driving test to Ferrari, do you? Do you know what I mean? Conor Benn, we give him all these fancy cars and this and that. He can look the part and that. And then your ego kicks in, doesn't it? You start strutting about thinking you're a star in that Essex Boys film and all that. And Conor Benn, I'm a geezer from Essex. Right, he's achieved nothing in the sport of boxing yet. All he's known as is Nigel Benn's son. Go and beat somebody of note. Go beat Josh Kelly. If he beats Josh Kelly and beats David Anisham, I'm on the Conor Benn hype train then. Well, they're not going to do that, are they? Because he might get beat. They're 50-50 fights, aren't they? Well, in fact, Kelly's a 50-50. Even Isham's a 40-60, isn't it? He's not a favourite in that, is he? So they're not going to do that. But I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's happening, but there's no shortcuts to success. If you think there's shortcuts to success, go and look at David A against Carl Thompson. You know what I mean? Or Tony Thompson against Big Truck, David Price. Hey. So
I remember that. I remember watching that high fight, and it was for an IBO title. It wasn't even for a European or a British or a Commonwealth. And he stopped him. He came back. But I remember you were telling me that Dennis warned him about that fight.
Well, Dennis said he warned them. When you're promoting two fighters, you can play one off other, can't you? Dennis said he warned them, but I've heard different stories. But there's Dennis's version and there's everybody else's, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? He might have been saying something totally different to Carl Thompson. The boxing promoters, aren't they? It's like Dennis put Sheedy on against Liam Cameron, didn't he? He were in both camps, wasn't he? He couldn't cheer when Liam won. Do you know what I mean? But I know who he had his money on for that fight, and it ain't what it told everybody. So look, when you've got two fighters from your stable and you're in a tight spot, aren't you? But I think we should see more of that, and I applauded Dennis for putting Sheedy Cameron on. But when they got in ring, it were a light middle against a super middle, even though they were both middles on the day before on scales. David A against Carl Thompson. I personally think that Dennis wanted to pinch an IBO with David A, and he thought Carl Thompson were over ill. Do you know what I mean? But he covered himself, saying to Adam Booth, look, you don't want this fight. You don't want this fight. No, we want it. You're that promoter. No, you don't want it. We still made it, didn't he? Dennis didn't have to make it. So promoters are cunning like foxes. They tell lies. You know what I mean? They tell lies. It's what they do. They're championship liars. And Eddie and Frank are saying, Mick Hennessy, all of them. Steve Goodwin. If you're putting kids on from your stable, you're in a tight spot. But I'm all for that. I'm all for it. And I sat and watched that. David A against Carl Thompson. I thought it was a great fight. Liam Cameron, Sheedy, I was ringside, jumping up and down like a banshee. Do you know what I mean? So, but anyway. All right, then. Well, listen. Okay,
Russell,
yeah,
I have to finish off. So you asked yesterday about Joseph Parker.
Yeah, go on.
So Joseph Parker, the pay-per-view in New Zealand works around $60. So it does.
Okay, yeah.
It's about $60, and he averages around 100,000 pay-per-view buys.
Oh, I thought it was 200. Eddie Hearn said on IFL. So it's 100,000.
Well,
is it?
The average is 100,000. The fight with Fa was, I think it's the second biggest ever pay-per-view in New Zealand. The numbers are Israel Adesanya from UFC. He has the pay-per-view. He's that number one.
So Joseph Parker brings $6 million to the table then, doesn't he, from his country?
Yeah.
Right. So that's why he's getting all these chances then, isn't it? I knew that all along. I just didn't know exact figures, but I had a feeling. It's like Katie Taylor. She does X amount of numbers for buys, doesn't she? That's
it's massive in Ireland. So there's actually a pricing list. I looked at a pricing list there, and for a table of 10 at a Joseph Parker fight works out $15,000 for a table of 10. Works out like $600 a seat if you want to pay individually. And the last fight there against Junior Fab was 9,000 capacity. So it was. So that's why he's getting pay-per-view opportunities. That's not like anything else other than the numbers, really, is it?
Okay then. Well, listen. Thank you for that bit of info. I've got Rico coming on now. So we'll get this out today, kid. Thank you for coming on, Ken. Hope you have a great weekend. It's 11 o'clock on a Friday morning. So thank you for coming on. You're a gentleman and you're a perfect addition to the Porky Express train. All right. So all the best, Ken.
Take care, Russell.
Out. And thank you for everybody for liking and subscribing, leaving a comment, but most of all, sharing the video on your WhatsApp. Peace out.